Hey there, everybody. Welcome to A Late Show. I am your host, Stephen Colbert, bringing you the show tonight from the diorama that we're submitting for our 8th grade science project. I hope we got a good grade. When we finally emerge from this pandemic, there will be some phrases I really never want to hear again, like social distancing or grim milestone or Zoom happy hour. It's either Zoom or happy. Pick a side. But we're still a long way from tunneling up to the sunshine because yesterday, the global tally of confirmed coronavirus cases passed 100 million, with almost a quarter occurring in the United States. Well, he did deliver on that America First thing. We just should have asked what the category it was in. But it's no surprise that we have 4% of the world's population and 25% of the cases because the previous doofus-in-chief called concerns over the virus a hoax, promoted quack cures, and mocked people for wearing masks. It was the worst public health message since 1929's President Hoover says, "Don't be afraid of syphilis, partner. Real cowboys ride bareback." Hoover, far more sex positive than I remember. But there's a new sheriff in town, and I'll catch you up on his plans in tonight's edition of Catch a Third Wave, Endless Bummer.
Don't wear your mask. Don't wash your hands. Don't wear your mask. Don't wash your hands. Don't wear your mask. Don't wear your mask. Don't wash your hands. Don't wear your mask. Don't wear your mask. Don't wash your hands. Don't wear your mask. Don't wash your hands. Don't wear your mask. Yeah, nailed it. Just call me COVID Van Beethoven. Whoa, where'd you get that thing? Is that a catapult? Jeez,
Yes.
Ow, okay, ow.
I want to know how much of tonight's budget went into constructing this catapult. And then send that man a box of steaks. Yesterday, President Biden announced a dramatic change to America's COVID plan. There is one. The most exciting news, the federal government is buying enough additional doses to vaccinate 300 million Americans by the end of the summer. So next Halloween, you know the hottest costume is going to be sexy, normal people saying hello. They're sexy because they can touch hands. But that's not all. Biden also promised states that the total amount of vaccine they're going to get will rise from 8.6 million to at least 10 million a week starting next week. That means February 2nd, next week, Groundhog's Day, Puxatawny Phil can come out of his burrow and get vaccinated and stay within 6 feet of his shadow. Getting more vaccines is great, but we really need to re-examine the way we give them out, especially in Philadelphia, where they made the oopsie-daisy of letting college kids distribute vaccines, and the result was a disaster. Well, yeah. The only thing college kids are good at distributing are Ultimate Frisbee sign-up sheets and HPV. Apparently, the city contracted out their vaccine oversight to a startup called Philly Fighting COVID, run by a 22-year-old CEO whose resume included teaching a high school film class, producing videos of people longboarding, and practicing parkour. So he's not qualified to manage healthcare, but he is qualified to date your ex-girlfriend. And no surprise, things did not go so well. Local seniors were left in tears after finding that appointments they'd made wouldn't be honored. Now, this might affect these kids' career prospects. Okay, I see here under recent experience, it says complete lack of moral compass and making the elderly cry. Welcome to Facebook. Now, that wasn't the only problem with this thing. While they were working on vaccine signups, the group switched to a for-profit model and added a privacy policy allowing it to sell users' personal data. Okay, but their users are almost all elderly. Who's looking to buy that user data? Big Butterscotch? Armchair Naps Unlimited? The shadowy global cartel that controls walk-in bathtubs? Now, I want a walk-in bathtub, by the way. Those look awesome. You know what I mean? They're deep enough to drown in. Not only was this startup a major disaster, the CEO, sucks major because reportedly he personally pocketed vaccine doses. Now, we all know they need to be kept at 90 below zero, but I'm sure they were safely transported between two ice-cold natty lights. Now, folks, we've got a new president, and one of the biggest jobs is cleaning up from the last one's messes. So yesterday, Biden had his very first phone call with Russian president and spelling bee moderator warning the contestants that all the words will be polonium. Vladimir Putin. Reportedly, Biden took Putin to task on the Kremlin's efforts to interfere in U.S. elections and reports that Russia offered bounties in Afghanistan to kill American soldiers. Wow, that is good to hear. I wonder if there's a name for that kind of conversation with a Russian leader.
Perfect phone call.
Thank you, citizen. Now, Biden talking to Putin is huge news in many ways, the biggest of which is we know about it. The last president hid the contents of every interaction he had with Putin and once said what happens in his Putin meetings was none of our business. He took possession of the notes of his own interpreter and instructed the linguist not to discuss what had transpired and even destroyed the translator's notes afterwards. Nothing suspicious about that. It's just like a husband saying, honey, my corporate retreat was great and nothing happened with my assistant, Jennifer. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to deactivate my Instagram, burn my clothes, change my name, and get a shot of penicillin. Joe Biden has taken American foreign policy back to what I can only describe as American foreign policy. And I'll tell you more in my new segment, Returning to...
Norms.
Now, you might be saying, that right there, that guy right there, that's Norm from Cheers, but who's this other guy? This guy right here. That's Norm Weiner, the father of Becca Weiner, one of our writer's assistants. Because it was very important that for norms, one of the norms be a normal norm. Now, in their call, Biden also took, did I explain that well enough? Did I go through that? Okay, good. In their call, Biden also took Putin to task for the computer hack of our government and Putin's treatment of Russian opposition leader and guy who just got dumped at a turtleneck fashion show, Alexei Navalny. Navalny was poisoned, which many suspect was an assassination attempt ordered by the Kremlin. Yes, they suspect a guy famous for killing political opponents of trying to kill his political opponent. It's part of the new Russian edition of the classic board game, Clue! Putin did it. Here's how they did it. Reportedly, Putin's assassins planted a lethal nerve agent in Navalny's underpants. They tried to kill him with the tighty-whities. Well, that's what he gets for wearing Fruit of the Tomb. Navalny returned to Russia and was immediately jailed, but that has not silenced him because, right after his arrest, Navalny dropped a video entitled Putin's Palace, tying Putin's corruption to his $1.3 billion palace. Now, it sounds bad for a government official to have that kind of cash, but remember, Putin saves a lot of money on shirts. The video got almost 100 million YouTube views in the first week, and it shows over-the-top features like this splendiferous theater with split-level velvet banquette box seats. That would be a tough room to play. Hey, did you hear the one about the president who was so great that everybody loved him? That's my time, everybody. Please tip your waiter, then hunt him for sport in the morning. It's crossbows. Compound also features an elaborate hookah bar with a stage that has a rising stripper pole, a lavish casino, an outdoor Greek amphitheater, and this green mound that houses an underground hockey rink with its own helipads. Because you can't be traveling from your private outdoor Greek amphitheater to your subterranean hockey rink via hovercraft like some animal. But he is really Putin on the Ritz in his insane private apartments with a massive 4-poster canopy bed, gold coffered ceilings, and tacky gold moldings and cherub sculptures everywhere. And you know what's most fun about that? You didn't even notice that halfway through I switched from showing the dictator's compound to showing our old president's New York apartment. But he did live by the old saying, decorate for the job you want. Speaking of corrupt regimes, one former administration official is really having a bit of a tough time because we've just learned that Mike Pence is homeless. Oh, that can't be pretty. Ladies and gentlemen of the F train, It is showtime. Hit it, mother. A 5, 6, 7, 8. Our Father who art in heaven, please let these people buy one of our candy bars. Mother, work the poll. And scene. The problem is, since Pence had free government lodging for the last 4 years, the ex-Veep doesn't own a house. So when the Pences moved out of the vice president's residence, they had nowhere to go. That's how all in Mike Pence was with his delusional boss. He was so devoted to the lie that they had beaten Biden that he made no plans whatsoever on where to live. That's like the Titanic getting rid of its lifeboats to have more hull space to paint the word unsinkable. But they're not out on the street. The Pences are reportedly couch surfing their way through Indiana, which is also the title of the worst Beach Boys album ever. When asked why he was doing this, Pence had a simple answer.
I got nowhere else to go!
He looks really good. Looks really good. Letting a friend crash on your couch is no big deal until you consider that the Pences still have Secret Service protection. Thanks so much for your hospitality, Steve, but sorry, before you enter the kitchen, you will be cavity searched. But finding a place to stay shouldn't be that hard. I can think of thousands of guys who want to hang with Mike Pence. Right, fellas? Close enough. Though Pence isn't the only presidential lackey having a bit of a tough time. So is MyPillow founder Mike Lindell, seen here inappropriately touching an employee. Lindell has spent the past few months peddling debunked conspiracy theories about voter fraud, urging the last administration to impose martial law to remain in office, and having the MyPillow site offer discount codes like QAnon. I guess Lindell thought that betraying your country would pay off. Reminds me of when Benedict Arnold sold us out to the British to get 15% off a set of shake weights. Last week, JCPenney dropped MyPillow, along with Kohl's and Bed Bath & Beyond. And yesterday, Twitter banned Lindell. Oh, that's nice. No more fascist conspiracies to distract you from the toxic misogyny. But with MyPillow in trouble, there's an opening in the market for conspiracy spreading as seen on TV products. And one company is taking advantage with this new ad.
Eggs, they're impossible. Holding them, cracking them, making them hot, but not anymore. Thanks to the Egg Wizard. The Egg Wizard makes perfect eggs every time, and it's the only kitchen product guaranteed to fight the secret cabal of Satan-worshipping cannibals who control our water supply. No more messy counters. No more sloppy plates. No more George Soros lizard men. The Egg Wizard makes eggs easy as it was for Mr. Rogers to fake his own death and live under an assumed name in Cuba until he receives a signal to return at the head of an army of child patriots and arrest Beau and Sonny Obama.
When I tried Egg Wizard, I thought, there's no way a single product can make great eggs, fluffy meringue, and stop the Trilateral Commission from using IKEA.com to plant DNA gathering devices in our furniture so that Oprah can clone us for organ meat. But it can.
Order now with promo code The Gathering Is Nigh, and we'll throw in a free Toastinator. You'll love the way it makes toast, but you know who won't? The swarm of sentient cyber hornets who call themselves Hillary Clinton.
We got a great show for you tonight. My guests are Billy Crystal and Representative Jackie Spear. Stick around.